Hi everyone, I'm here today with Eleanor. My name is Adeline, and we returned home from amazing experiences abroad this past year. Today I'm an AIFS Alumni Ambassador. I studied abroad in San Jose, Costa Rica during the fall semester of my junior year. Eleanor, could you talk with us a little bit about your program in London and then maybe describe the beautiful landscape you have going on behind you?
Yeah, so I actually had the opportunity to study abroad with AIFS in London summer of 2023. I did like the summer one program, so it was June through June to July, and it was incredible. And behind me actually I have like the city skyline at night, I thought was one of the most like beautiful sights I had ever seen. Like it's an incredible city, and then seeing it all lit up at night was just insane.
Oh, it's stunning. Where did you take this photo? Was this from where you lived or?
No, so it was actually at this restaurant that me and my friends just happened to stumble upon. We saw this like rooftop restaurant. We were like, oh, that must be like insane. So we just happened to go there, and then we got there at such a good time because it was for sunset, and then it was just like all the lights lit up, and it was just so pretty.
Wow, that's incredible. I think it's really a good example of how studying abroad, we kind of just fall into like these amazing experiences. So behind me, we didn't really fall into there. We took a boat there, but this is in Panama, and it was in the 𝗟𝗘𝗧'𝗦 Islands off of near like Bocas del Toro. But this is not edited. Like this is how blue the water is. So yeah,
So
just
stunning.
amazing, amazing experiences. So, just talking about amazing times, is there a specific moment that you can think of while in London that really changed you as a person or changed your life?
Yeah, so actually, like the one thing that kind of stuck out to me the most, which is kind of like a little bit strange, was like the cricket game that we went to. Because like obviously we don't really have cricket here, although I think they're trying to introduce it into the States.
Yeah.
But like we don't have that here. And it was actually like either the second or third day. It was one of the first days we were there. AIFS was offering these cricket game tickets for free for anybody who wanted to sign up and go. And I was kind of like hesitant about it because I was still adjusting, and I was like really nervous because I was very shy when I like first got there. So I was like a little bit nervous about it, but I was like, like kind of like force myself out of my comfort zone. I was like going with everybody on my program. Cricket is such a big part of their culture. So it was kind of like immersing myself, like throwing myself right into the culture. We were sitting amongst locals, like people who had gone to like every single game. They were being rowdy. It was so fun. And I think the reason it sticks out to me is because that's like the first example of like me kind of stepping into like this new culture and like out of my comfort zone, meeting new people. I was talking with everybody on our program, and that's kind of how I was like introduced to a lot of people, which was so fun. And I loved that part of it.
No, that's great. I went to a soccer game in Costa Rica in San Jose. So I can definitely relate, when you look at the sports that are really popular in the host country, you can really see like specific cultural avenues that you wouldn't
Yeah.
find otherwise. Do you still follow cricket now after being back in the US?
Well, yeah, it's actually funny because, like I said, like they're trying to introduce it into the States, and they
Yeah.
actually just opened a cricket arena like an hour from my house, like at home. So it's like really interesting because I'm like, oh, now I get to go to their games and I actually know what they're doing because I had no idea what it
Yeah, I
was. And
don't
like, I
think
was talking to this one other kid in our program, and he was like explaining it all to me, and it was crazy. But now I feel like I'm an expert and I can like explain it to my family.
definitely. I mean, it's all about those experiences that ultimately differentiate you, going forward in your life, applying to careers, applying to jobs. Like that's definitely not a typical United States or American walking point. So that's incredible. Could you talk about how you felt as a foreigner studying abroad? Did you feel safe? Did you have any difficulties once you got there with adjusting or getting used to the host culture?
Yeah, so that was probably one of my biggest like anxieties going into the program is like wondering if I'd be able to adjust to the culture and like really fitting in. But I like AIFS does an incredible job of like they make sure that you have help available. They make sure that you have access to resources. They introduced us to City Mapper, which was like this app that like literally tells you exactly where you need to go, what trains you have to take. So I think like it was definitely an adjustment. Like the learning the city, getting adjusted to that whole thing. But I do think it was helpful that London is obviously English speaking. So it was like that barrier wasn't as strong, but also like adjusting to their culture. They're a very like friendly, neighborly culture. So like whereas I'm from New York, I would go into the city, you keep your head down, you don't look at anybody. Like it was a lot different here where like everybody's so friendly. You could say hi to somebody passing on the street. It's not like dangerous at all. I felt safe 100% of the time, in all honesty, which was definitely helpful for me because like that whole independence aspect, it's terrifying going to a new country like by yourself for the first time. And so I was like, am I going to be able to like make it or whatever? But honestly, I never felt unsafe at all. And I think it was a pretty fairly easy adjustment to the culture.
Oh, it's great to hear. I mean, I was in a whole different part of the world, again, San Jose, Costa Rica, but I can honestly say the same thing. AIFS and the field office there, they'll help you as little or as much as you need. So I really appreciated having that backbone, excuse me, and that great network ultimately going forward. So it sounds like you had an amazing time. If you could talk to maybe pre-study abroad Eleanor, what would you tell her? Do you have any advice you would want her to know or give?
I would honestly tell her to relax because there was like so much that I was just running through my mind, like overthinking that never even came to pass at all. Just not to be scared of new things because, like, again, like there was a lot of stuff that was not completely different. And like you don't necessarily think of England as like completely different from America because it's like same language, stuff like that. So like I personally did not think there was going to be that many differences, but there's a lot of cultural differences. And so like not being scared to try new things and also saying yes more. Like that was my biggest thing that I wish I told myself before is to just say yes. Like if like one of your friends on the program says they're gonna go do a day trip here, just say yes. Like you'll never regret going. If anything, you'll regret not doing it or not going. So that's probably the biggest thing that I would tell her.
That's great advice and also super encouraging to hear. It looks like for my graduate study, I'll be studying in the London area in the UK.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, so I was super excited for our conversation today and then to hear all this. It's just great news again. Like go abroad. Like anyone watching this, you guys need to go abroad. You'll love it.
Yes, for sure.
Maybe a more specific question. Did you pack or did you not pack anything that you wish you did?
So this one might be a little bit more specific to me personally or like my experience, but I didn't realize that in Europe they don't really have AC or like they
Mm.
don't have stuff like that. So I was definitely not prepared for not having like central air stuff like that. And so I didn't actually pack any like clothes for sitting around the house. I just had like sweatpants, stuff like that. And so I would be like sitting there sweating. And so I had to like actually go out and buy a fan, which obviously I'm not encouraging anybody to buy a fan necessarily. Maybe like bringing like different things conducive to that because I'm not entirely positive, but I'm pretty sure most of Europe they don't really do AC. And going in the summer, that was a big thing. Like it was very hot. But other than that, I think there was like a lot of pressure to bring like stylish, like nicer clothes because you're always like, oh, I don't want to look like a lazy American, the stereotypes of
Mm.
tourists.
No athleisure, right?
Yeah, exactly. But like honestly, there was a lot more than you'd think, and nobody's really judging you. And I think it should be like whatever you're comfortable in, because there were days where I really just wanted to walk out in like comfy shorts and like a t-shirt, and I just didn't pack that because I was just so set on wearing like nicer clothes. And so I definitely would give yourself a little bit of leeway there. And kind of going off of that room, like leaving room in your suit, you do not need as much clothes as you think you do. That is one thing. I used maybe half the clothes that I had brought, and I also shopped a lot. And so I would definitely say bring a lot less clothes than you think because you will do a lot of shopping there. It's just inevitable. Like you see a store and you're like, oh, like I get to like that's a really cute outfit and I could say I got it in London, like stuff like that. So definitely give yourself a little leeway with that.
No, those are really great ideas. I can personally say, you know, don't really know what to pack until after you've gone. So that's why these like talks are so useful for future students who can watch these do things better than we did. I
Yeah,
was
exactly.
going to Costa Rica during the rainy season and I didn't bring an umbrella, and that was
Oh,
just bad. I thought I could just like function without it. No. Costa Rican rain is like a whole different ball game. So, it's those little things that, really didn't ruin the experience, but life would have definitely been easier
yeah.
had we known. Yeah. So this is an important question that a lot of students ask when thinking about going abroad. Like, how did we pay for it? How do we finance it? Could you talk about, did you use scholarships, or what are some of the opportunities that your university did maybe to help pay for cost? Were things cheaper or more expensive for you in London? Maybe just in regards to that big box of finances, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so I did not have any scholarships or anything like that, but I know like our school offered like this group meeting assembly type thing where they kind of walked you through budgeting and how to like properly budget for like studying abroad, which I thought was so extremely helpful because I'm horrible with budgeting. But like they broke it down, put X amount for food, X amount for shopping, stuff like that. And so I think that was also very helpful for me. And they like said they were like, you're gonna have a kitchen, make sure you cook, like you don't have to eat out every single night. Stuff like little things like that they would go over so that like you're kind of prepared for that mindset of saving money. Like I worked a lot leading up to study abroad, so I kind of put that all into savings specifically for London. And then I would budget myself every day. I had a set budget of what I wouldn't go over in a day. In regards to cheaper versus more expensive, it was definitely cheaper there. I wouldn't say by like a landslide, but there were a lot of things like my everyday coffee. I went to Starbucks there, and my Starbucks drink there compared to here was like $4 cheaper. And it was just insane. I was like, this is crazy. So yeah, but in general, I think just setting yourself a budget standard, and like there are resources. AIFS helps with that. I know they have some resources on that. And then like a lot of universities, I think, do like that kind of program where they'll walk you through like steps for going abroad, and they like will mention financing. So like make sure you pay attention to that because I didn't pay too close attention, but then I had to revert back to my knowledge when I was like there. So
Yeah, no, seriously. One thing I would say, don't let finances be the make or break for you when you decide whether or
yeah.
not to study abroad, because there's so many resources. Me personally, I come from like a low income family background. AIFS has a lot of scholarships, and one of the ones they actually awarded to me, and it was great. My program cost was so much cheaper than my home university. And then things in San Jose, Costa Rica, food, daily life essentials, so much cheaper. So it was just an amazing, amazing experience. Yeah, it sounds like you just had an amazing time in London. Do you have any like last words or advice or last recommendations you'd like to share?
I would say if you're at all considering going abroad, do it. Like that is the one thing that I know I've spoken to people who have gone abroad, and I've spoken to people who haven't, and they carry regret for like forever. Like I was talking to one of my older cousins recently actually, and he was like, I regret nothing from my college experience other than the fact that I didn't go abroad. And I think that is something that a lot of people don't really realize in the moment, because like it's not really something you, or at least I didn't go into college thinking about it. I know like my roommates were like kind of in the same boat, but like really just seizing that opportunity, because you're never going to have this opportunity again of being able to go abroad with everybody who's all in the same boat. Like you're with this big group of people, of incredible people from different parts of the country who are all just here for the same reason. And so I think having that opportunity is something that should not be taken for granted. So if you're at all considering it, just do it.
Thank you, Eleanor. It was such a pleasure speaking to you, and I hope you can get to a cricket game sometime
Oh,
soon.
thank you.
Or